koutou katoa. Kia ora ana. Thank you for having me today. I just want you once more to give it up for Te Hamua and Georgina. Who represent an extraordinary team of candidates who have come together in this new relationship to offer a real vision of change for New Zealand. In many meetings around the country over the last 5 weeks, I've said to people that voting internet mana is not for the faint-hearted. Because when we go into Parliament as your agents and representatives for change, we are not going to close the door after us. We need you not only to give us your vote between September the 3rd and September the 20th, but we need you to hold our hands and work with us shoulder to shoulder for change. That is what it means to build a movement, to stay connected, to keep connected, and from small things, big things can grow, and they are growing. We started this road trip 4 weeks ago in the far north, in Harawera's electorate, and we filled halls in Kaitaia, in Kaipoi, in Kerikeri. Then we ran out of places, starting with Kay in Northland, so we went to Whangarei, and we filled a hall there. On to Kelston, my political tūranga waiwai in Waitakere. People spilling out the doors because they wanted to hear a message for change, and Hone is going to win Te Tai Tokerau for the 4th time consecutively. And we're going to win 5% plus of the party vote, but if we don't make the threshold, I will be proud to go into Parliament on his coattails. What better coattails for the coattails? And we went to Rotorua, where we launched the campaign for Annette Sykes, who will be the first daughter of Te Arawa to hold the electorate that she is standing in and represent her people in Wellington, and I think it will be awesome. What better person could you put into Parliament to represent the interests and human rights of New Zealanders of all sorts than Annette Sykes, and she will win Wairiki on September the 20th. And from Rotorua we went to Hamilton, to New Plymouth, to Whanganui, to Palmerston North, to Wellington, to Nelson, to Christchurch, to Queenstown, to Invercargill, to Dunedin, to Timaru, to Blenheim, and now we are in the Hutt Valley, and we are growing a movement that is not just going to change the government on September the 20th, but is changing politics. Yes. We are the recipients of 2 enormous gifts in this election campaign. The first is the gift that has led to the formation of the Internet Party, an opportunity for many people who have felt and know the failure of vision that exists in our current government to lead the economic transformation that will make it possible to deliver full employment again, and which led to the formation of the Internet Party, along with Kim.com's enormous generosity to the New Zealanders who wanted to commit to this new movement. I am a recipient, as are you, of that first gift, and I thank Kim.com for his generosity, for his willingness to allow us to form this new party and to bring a new generation of people into Parliament this year. The second was the gift of Hone and the gift of the Mana movement to the Internet Party. The gift of a relationship that means all of those who wanted to support the Internet Party, who wanted to do politics differently, are assured that their party vote for Internet Mana will count when the votes are counted on September the 20th. But it is a gift that goes beyond its original strategic electoral purpose, because it is a gift that has enabled the formation of a completely new kind of political relationship. The independence of a kaupapa Māori party, the Mana movement, relating and forming a relationship with the newest, most awesome political party out there in the political hemisphere, the Internet Party, gives us a chance as New Zealanders to show in political practice what it means to say that the Treaty of Waitangi is the foundation of our beautiful country. We understand the importance of that gift. We will honour it, and we know that without justice for Māori, there cannot be justice for New Zealand, and we will stand by that commitment and build this relationship and make New Zealand the kind of country that some of our ancestors wanted it to be. So thank you to Mana and to Hone. There is an incredible logic to the weaving together of the Mana movement with the Internet Party. That logic rests in understanding what the root cause is of our inequality crisis in Aotearoa, New Zealand. At the root of that crisis is the failure of governments to have provided a vision and support for an economy that can deliver full employment. 30 years ago, our traditional industries, the things that we did well, stopped producing enough jobs to employ all New Zealanders. We had governments that launched a smashing attack on our manufacturing sector, and they have not stopped smashing manufacturing ever since. And valleys like the Hutt Valley are an indictment, because 30 years ago, this valley produced great, well-paid, well-unionised, secure jobs that allowed New Zealanders to stand on their own 2 feet and to take a decent pay packet home and to live in dignity on the back of a full-time, secure job. We have to rebuild a national commitment to full employment again. And to do that, we have to think about where the future lies. How are we going to deliver those jobs? How are we going to turn a rhetorical commitment to full employment into a genuine reality? We are not going to do it simply by selling off our farms to overseas investors and believing that we can intensify our primary production industries. We are brilliant farmers. We are brilliant primary producers, but our primary production industries have reached the environmental limits. They cannot go any further, and they will not produce the jobs that New Zealanders demand and deserve if we are going to live in a fully employed country again. What we offer you is a vision of economic transformation that understands where the future lies in terms of building new industries. That future lies on the internet. It lies in the digital economy. And we must invest and develop the infrastructure and the educational base that will enable us to lead in the digital age rather than to be a poor relation, a late adapter, and a third world country as others begin to take us over. Let me give you an example. South Korea 10 years ago was primarily a farming country like ours, a country that had high levels of unemployment, as do we, a country that had very little in the way of technical infrastructure and high-end manufacturing. The government of that country worked alongside investors and those in the private sector to develop a strong technology sector, seeing the possibilities for job generation and the growth and improvement of living standards in their country as a result. They set about to connect every single household, every single public institution, every single business to the internet. And off the back of the world's best, or one of the world's best internet infrastructures, they have lowered unemployment from over 10% to 2.6%, less than half our figure, and they have done it by creating new industries, providing free education, giving people the tools they know to become leaders in the digital age. There are many examples of countries who understand the opportunities of this technology, and if we don't get to grips with them, then we won't just have the inequality crisis we have now, we will have generation who represent an inequality catastrophe. It is our duty to get to grips with this technology and to develop the infrastructure, the leadership from government, the educational base to enable us to grow good jobs and jobs that can again employ all New Zealanders. It is not just about the infrastructure. Internet Mana is committed to an education system that will give all New Zealanders the tools that they need to take leadership in the new age. And we are going to start by reintroducing free tertiary education. We are the only party committed to getting rid of all student fees, introducing a universal living allowance, and tackling the existing burden of student debt, which is lumbering young New Zealanders down with a mortgage, before they get a chance to start a family, to invest in a business, or to begin their career. We want to liberate young New Zealanders from the burden of student debt and show them that our community values their development and their full potential. A shift to a more technology-based economy is the rescue that our environment needs. What is this current government offering? It is offering old economy solutions. The intensification of dairy farming. This government abolished the democratically elected Canterbury Regional Council so that it could get its irrigation schemes through to enable the intensification of farming on the Canterbury Plains, polluting the water table and further damaging our freshwater quality. These are not the solutions for the future. Internet Mana is going to put a moratorium on exploration for deep sea oil because we cannot Internet Mana will stop fracking unless and until Internet Mana does not want a part in the fossil fuels past. We are committed to moving to 100% renewables for our electricity by 2025. And we will create more jobs by investing in innovative new ways of delivering energy and using renewables than we are going to create on deep sea oil wells or on fracking cases in Taranaki. This election is not just about our development, it's not just about poverty, it's not just about housing or education, although it is about all those things. It is also about the soul of our nation, and it is about the integrity of our democratic system. Like many of you, I am working my way through this book, Dirty Politics, and I have been involved in politics for quite a while. I took my first steps alongside John Minto, who's number 4 on the Internet Mana Party. I took my first political steps alongside John Minto as a 15-year-old in my school uniform marching against the Springbok tour, and I haven't stopped marching since. Even I have been shocked by the revelations in this book. Revelations that show the rotten core at the heart of the National Party and at the top of our political system. We will not support National in any way, shape or form. Changing the government and ensure your party vote does not go to a party that has the remotest possibility of supporting National and government, because this rot has to be stopped, and Internet Mana is committed to doing that. The sickest revelation in this book is the revelation that the purpose of this dirty politics is not to win votes for the National Party. The purpose of this dirty politics is to turn you off voting altogether. Yep. And what a fine job they have done of that. In the 2011 election, nearly 1 million voters did not vote. Almost as many people didn't vote as voted for the National Party. And when you ask people, and they have surveyed and researched this issue, why they didn't vote, you get answers like they're all the same. They all lie. None of them care about me. And those messages have been fed by the operatives whose emails fill the pages of this book. That is their intention, to manipulate public opinion, to turn people off democracy, because they know that when you stop voting, they win. And at the top of our voting system is the minister whose name appears the most in this book. The minister who, as Minister of Justice, is the minister in charge of the Electoral Commission, Judith Collins. Judith Collins provides the budget to the Electoral Commission, a commission that has been starved of the funds needed to empower people to get out there and to vote. A commission that should be pouring hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into addressing the drop-off in voter turnout that has reached crisis levels in the last 2 elections. And if you haven't joined the dots yet, I think after you read this book, it will become perfectly clear why our Electoral Commission has been starved of the funds to increase voter turnout. We have to do its job for it. We in Internet Mana are doing the Electoral Commission's job for it, and Judith Collins should step down as the Minister in charge of the Electoral Commission. Fingerprints are all and I call on the Prime Minister to force her to step aside from that role before the general election and not pour dirt on our electoral process. The most important thing we can do, each of us, in the next 5 weeks is to connect everybody we know who has any doubts about participating in the democratic process to that process. That means that through your social media, in your workplace, at home, in your community, with your family and friends, you have a personal responsibility to make sure every single one of them is on the electoral roll. And you have a responsibility to ensure that every single one of them goes to the polling booth any day between the 3rd of September, when advance voting starts, and the 20th of September. There is no excuse this time round for failing to turn up and cast a vote. We have 18 days to vote. We must mobilise to use every single one of those 18 days to share the message of voting, to provide people with a reason to vote, and to help all our friends and families get there and have a part in our democracy. This election will not be decided by the voters who vote national. This election will be decided by the voters who do not vote. Let's reduce that number, do our part, be part of the movement, party vote internet mana. We're going to go in there as a vanguard for changing not just the government, but for forever changing politics in this country. Thank you very much.